Hello, hello, hello. Close your eyes and hear the music. Close your eyes and hear the music. Let it be good, good, good to ya. Let it be good, good, good to ya. There was a black flag on my morning. There was a black flag on my day. There was a black flag on everything around, and I was walking backwards again. Good evening. That was a little rough, but could you turn my monitor up just a little bit? Just a little, I can't hear my voice. Well, listen, I'm not a wanker. I don't do solos too well. That was pretty rough for me. So usually, the last couple of nights I've been getting up here and screwing around a little bit, then having people ask questions. How many King's X fans we have out here? That makes me feel good. How many guitar players? How many drummers? How many bass players? We got a couple. All right, get your questions ready. I just, I love to answer questions. People, lots of King's X fans have a lot of questions about us and how we play songs or how I do things. So think about some questions and fire them up at me, okay? Somebody raise their hand and ask me something. Yes.
How do you guys have been together so long, how do you keep the chemistry, but how do you keep from each other's head?
It's like a marriage. We've been together 23 years. The first 10 years it was rough. Me and Ty had a hard time with each other. We're both born in the same month. We're both Virgos and we're both control freaks. So you got that problem. But I don't know. We always say we're just idiots. Could you put a little high end in this monitor for me, please? We just all say we're idiots because we stuck together. There are times when we wanted to break up, but as soon as we officially decided to do it, some kind of a fear came over us, like this weird feeling, and we look at each other and go, oh no. So we stayed together, and I guess we'll be together forever,
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
How did you develop your sound? You've got a very distinctive sound.
Thanks. Through listening to my heroes, I always say the more people that who you're influenced by, the more original you will sound, because all we do is copy people that we like to listen to, and there's nothing new. I mean, everything that we do, we've copied from somebody else. It's just that if you take enough influences and make it your own, you get your own thing. I mean, everybody does that. Billy Sheehan's got his own sound, I got mine. Chris Squire has got his, John Entwistle. In fact, John Entwistle and Chris Squire were the two guys that actually inspired me to get the bright, ratty kind of tone. The multi-string thing. This is a 12-string guitar. I don't use it a whole lot anymore, but in the early days, for third and fourth album, Faith of Love, and our fourth album, I think, I used it a lot on it. It originated a long time ago, like in the early 70s with Cheap Trick. Tom Peterson, the bass player for Cheap Trick, him and Joe Danzig, the head of Hamer Records. I gotta slow down. The head of Hamer Records, they got together and Tom just had this idea to make a 12-string guitar, and they said, okay, what the heck? And they tried it. And with Cheap Trick, Tom Peterson had been playing 12 strings since the beginning, and not too many people notice it or say anything about it, but it always fascinated me because he was such a great bass player when it came to volume. He was just so loud, and I loved him. So we were on tour with Cheap Trick 1988, and they were getting ready to walk on stage, and I asked him about his 12-string, you know, how I could get one and all that stuff. And so he handed it to me, let me play it for a second. And I just fell in love with it. And maybe it was 3 or 4 years later before I got a 12-string, but Hamer made me 3 of them, and now Yamaha is making them for me. Yeah.
It's kind of a two-part question.
Yeah.
I was wondering how you felt things changed for you once I started producing your albums, and then also could you play cigarettes?
I'll try to play cigarettes. Things change. I don't know. You know, producers always put their color on you. You know what I'm saying? And they're sort of the outside person who kind of directs you for selling records. You know, a hit record, or they just kind of put you together. So Sam Taylor, our producer manager, he made us rehearse like 10 hours a day. When I'd write a song, we'd go over it like for 2 or 3 days and take the riffs and change them around as many times as we could until we found the right riff, and it usually was the original riff in the first place, just to piss me off. But then after all that, I think, you know, we learned how to be a band from just the drill sergeant. And after Sam left us, and we got Brendan O'Brien to do our Dogman record, which changed everything for us, because we wanted to get the sound that we have live on record, and Brendan was master at doing that. So the Dogman record just stomped, and I loved it. Cool. And then there was Ear Candy. Arnold Lanning produced that, and he's done a lot of what's the name of the band from from Canada? Yeah, Our Lady Peace. Yeah, he worked with them a lot, and I was real impressed by Our Lady Peace's first album because I heard that he wrote all the songs on it, and it sounded great, and the songs were great. So we called him up to do our Ear Candy album, and the whole idea behind Ear Candy was he said to us, "What color are you thinking?" And we said brown, like Neil Young, Harvest. So we went for a brown sound, if you want to call it that. So that's why Ear Candy's so different from Dogman, which we didn't realize at the time. We're idiots when it comes to changing everything up every record. We just get bored with ourselves. But Ty came along, you know, after Arnold. We just decided to do it ourselves because we know what we like, we know what we want, and we know who we are. Not saying that we won't get a producer later, because I'm trying to find Dave Grohl. I want him to produce this. But Ty's done a good job. But basically, you know, you could say we got lazy, or we're so used to each other that we don't work hard. After the producers left, we just get in there and just throw out songs and have fun. We don't try to be really tight. If we're sloppy a little bit, we leave it. We try to get vibe and attitude. And that's what we've been trying to do for the last 4 records, you know, is just get that vibe going. Because we've already done the perfection thing and trying to be tight and all that stuff. And after a while, it's just too much work, you know. I'm serious, you know, we used to write songs that were so complicated that every time we went on tour, we had to sit down and learn them again. And that's a hard thing. And when people want us to do certain songs in the past, we can't do them because we can't remember them. But later on in our career, we started getting a little bit simple, you know, and having more fun. And I hope it works. But anyway, cigarettes. I'll get my 4-string and I'll play you a part of it, but I don't know if I can sing it because there's no guitar, okay? I'll just use my 12-string, it'll sound nice. It'll help me. Somebody asked for it last night too, and screwed it up really bad. Let's see, how's it go? Dude, hang on. When you got just one bass, I got to hear the guitar to hear the chord, you know. So I don't know where I'm at. Anyway, it's an easy song. All it is. That's the whole song anyway. Woo! That's a hard one when you can't hear the chords, you know? Thanks for asking for that. Everybody loves that song, and we do it all the time. And I'm sick of doing it personally, but you know, it's a fun song, and it's a song that lets Ty stretch out on, and we'd like jam on it and do a whole big thing on it. Yes?
Now, when you guys record, do you guys record as one whole band or individually?
As one band at first. Jerry has to put down, you know, the drums have to be right, solid, but we play along with him. And if our tracks are okay, we leave them, but if they're not, we fix them, which I always have to fix mine. But lately, we just don't fix them. You know, thank God for Pro Tools. Cut and paste. It's sad, but it's easy and it's true. What was the question again?
How you guys recorded?
Okay, yeah, that's how we do it. We record all our records now in Ty's house. He's got a drum room in the garage, and he's in his studio, and I'm sitting there with him playing, and that's how we play. We can't see Jerry, but we have fun. Yes?
Your vocal harmonies, the execs, is that something that you guys actually had to spend a lot of time going over, or is it something like Crosby, Stills, and Nash, which just came naturally?
No, it wasn't natural. I was always the singer of the band, and we didn't have harmonies much, and then we'd throw them in every now and then. With Ty would sing harmonies backup, but Jerry hated to sing, didn't want to sing. When Sam Taylor came to us, and we first got our first record, we were working on it, and Sam said, "Look, Jerry, you have to sing." So in the first two records, I sang all the harmonies, and then they matched them up. And what Sam would do is he would take every voice and sing it 3 times, and then he'd stack them. Then he'd take the 3 of us, and we'd sit in a room and sing around a mic. Then he'd stack those. That's why the harmonies sound so lush and stuff. And then we stopped doing that. That's what you hear now. It's just 3 guys. But Jerry's gotten a lot better. He's got a solo album out. He's singing like a pro, and I'm glad we made him sing. But we don't naturally sing together. Like our friends at Galactic Cowboys, they could stand up here and just sing all day harmonies. They'd find their parts. But the 3 of us, forget it. You know, and a lot of times our sound man will ask us to sing on the mic so he can get a balance, and every one of us would just sing out of key. You know, if I hit a note, Ty will hit something totally wrong, and Jerry would hit, and people would sit out there watching us do a sound check, hearing us singing these awful notes. But, you know, we just, you know, we have to really work at those harmonies. You know, practice makes perfect, I guess. Hey, yeah.
You guys come back to New England soon?
I don't know. We're going on tour in about 2 weeks, and I haven't seen the schedule.
May 8th is Attleboro.
Huh?
May 8th is Attleboro.
May and Attleboro. Okay.
May 8th.
May 8th.
May 8th. And May, yeah, a whole month there. Yeah, May 8th in Attleboro. So come see us. Yes.
You guys have so many great tunes. How do you make a set list when you come out? Do you have a vocal range? You guys-
Yeah. Whew.
I know you get sick of like Goldie Rock and Old Mike.
Yeah, we do. But we do some of them if people keep yelling for them enough. But set list, Well, you know, since we make our own music, you know, we can't get outside of it. So there's a lot of it that has a lot of baggage from how hard we worked to make the record. Sam Taylor, like I said, made us work hard. So as a result of it, I can't listen to the first 4 records without feeling all that. So I can't see them for what they are. And so when we work on a set list, it's usually what we can deal with. It ain't the songs. It's just what we can be comfortable doing because we've got so much baggage. So our set list, you know, it's narrow, but it's a bit. I mean, we play for 3 hours sometimes. We can do a lot of songs, but there's a bunch of songs we just won't do. You know, Chariot Song and Faith Oak Love and things like that. We just can't do it. But that's how we do it. I usually make up the song list and then we argue over it. And then we go over it, we practice, we play them, and you know, sometimes we'll say, oh, let's do this song or that song, and we'll start playing it, and we'll get like halfway through it, and it'll just fade out, and we just go, I don't feel like it. So that's how we do it. It's all haphazard. We're just a bunch of guys who like to screw around and have fun. We're never serious. Even though people think we are, we never are. You know, all the things that people think are deep and meaningful that we say and do are us just screwing around having fun. If it's stupid, we'll do it. Sometimes we get too far ahead of ourselves. Fishbowl man. You know, I was talking to Ty yesterday and I was saying, you know, that was a stupid song. He says, yeah, we put it on first to get it over with. You know, we did the first song on the record, so. But yeah.
Mr. Bulbous, man, where'd you come up with that?
Ty came up with that on our second album. One day he just said, please come home. No, he said bulbous. Let's make a record called Bulbous and have a man with a light bulb on his head. So we said, yeah. And but we never got around to it till came time to make that record. But we used to always say that we were going to put a record out called Since Hector Was a Pup. So what we do is tell everybody the name of our record is going to be called Since Hector Was a Pup. Then we come out with a different name. It's just fun. Yes?
Maybe you could speak a little bit about how you made the transition from the garage band starting out to who did you convince, how did you convince them to land a deal?
This is a cool story, and I like to tell it. We've been together for like 8 years, and going nowhere in Springfield, Missouri. It was like dead end. And we've always been a weird, quirky band. Even if we try to do top 40, we were a cover band for a while, trying to make a living. And even that, we couldn't keep people in a club because we just do it our own way. We've always been just out in left field, and we didn't know it. But so it was real hard, and we just kept working and working and working. And finally, one day, a guy down in Texas, he had a little record label, and he had an artist on there who needed a band. So he said to us, why don't you guys come down and be the band, and we'll try to help you get a record deal. So we went down, became this guy's band for a year and a half. They put us on salary, and after we got done with him, we spent a year just writing music, and they gave us a paycheck. It was really, dream come true. But at the end of it, they decided they couldn't get us a record deal, so they sued us and wanted their money back. So we moved on. And actually, these people introduced us to Sam Taylor. Sam Taylor was our manager and producer who was with ZZ Top for about 10 years. He is the first cousin to Bill Ham, who is the head of ZZ Top organization. But anyway, so Sam's working with us. He decides he's got a little gold mine here, but he wouldn't tell us. He told us we weren't very good and we needed him and blah, 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 blah. And, but he went home and told his wife, I think I got something. She told us later. It was pretty cool. But so anyway, we worked on a demo. We had Andy Johns come in. He did Cinderella and Led Zeppelin and The Who and all these people. And he came in to do a demo for us, 4 songs. But he proceeded to drink vodka and orange juice all day until he'd get drunk, and all he did was talk about stories about Jimi Hendrix and The Who and all that stuff. So anyway, the demo sucked and we let it go. But here's what happened. Sam told us not to give our demos to anybody, not to reveal anything that we're doing, and I'm the opposite. I'll give you everything even before it's halfway done. I just love to, I'm just like that, open. So he made me promise not to give our demos to anybody, and I said, okay. Well, I had a roommate who was moving away. He was moved to Nashville, and he had just got out of truck driving school, so he was going to Nashville to be a driver for tour buses. So I gave him everything. He said, hey man, give me some of your stuff. And I figured nobody's gonna know the difference. So I gave him everything that we had. And he ran into a guy that sort of knew us, the drummer for Amy Grant, actually. And he played the whole tape for him. And the guy hated everything but the last 4 songs. And he called me up and said, hey dude, I know, or he asked me what's happening first. And I'll backtrack. Sam had sent demos to every major record company that we could find, and we were rejected by everybody. So this guy, he said to me, he said, why don't you call Johnny Zazula up, who has a label called Megaforce. That's where Metallica started and Anthrax. So I had to go tell Sam that I gave our music away when I promised I wouldn't. And I told him, well, look, this is the deal. So we sent the tape to Metal Blade, or Megaforce. And his name is Sam Taylor, and Johnny Zazula's wife, Marsha, who runs Megaforce, she saw this tape and it said Sam Taylor on it. Well, she's got a close friend named Sam Taylor. So she opened it up, thinking, well, is this guy, Because usually when you send a tape to a record company, they don't listen to it. I've watched people. I mean, they get tapes, they listen to half a second and throw it out the window. They're brutal. So she liked it, and she realized it wasn't Sam Taylor, and she talked her husband into signing us. So they called us up, they flew us to LA, and we played, flew us to New York. We played a showcase at the Cat Club. I remember Joey Ramone stood right down front, and we were opening for Black Oak, Arkansas. Jim Dandy, man. You should see Jim Dandy with his white tights and his stomach out to here. It was great. We had a great time. But we went out and played, and I remember we walked out, and I remember we were playing, and I kept getting shocked by the mic. And I remember I screamed at the mic, somebody stop this. I was cussing and screaming like an idiot. We're doing a showcase, right? But he fixed it, and I was so angry that we stepped up the intensity, and it blew everybody away. And at the end of the show, he signed us, and people came back, and they're, you're the next big thing, and blah, 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 and our heads swelled up, and we thought we were going to be rock stars. And that's where it started,
What were those 4 songs in that demo?
Makes Me Wonder, Power of Love. I can't remember the other 2. Yes?
How do you guys write songs? Do you write all together, or?
Nah, well, it's been a transition. The first 8 or 9 records, I wrote about 80% of the songs. I just sit at home and with my drum machine and write songs all the time. I got thousands of songs, actually. And ones I kind of like or think the guys will like, I'll take them to and play them for them. We'll either destroy them and start over again, or do them just like the song, But that's how we used to do it. Then I got kind of frustrated because I wasn't getting everything that was in me out. And you can't when you got other people in your band. It's a compromise, So I got a chance to do a couple solo records. And as a result of it, I got all that aggression out, all the things I wanted to do out. And so when I went back, and Ty did a solo album too, and Jerry's just done one. And all 3 of us actually said after we got to do our own thing, we could let King's X breathe, and we can come back and be who we are. So the last three records, Manic Moonlight, Mr. Bulbous, and Tapehead, we actually sat down and wrote together. Tapehead, we wrote a song a day. We had 3-hour rehearsals because Jerry had to go pick his kid up from school. So we'd write a song a day. Take us about 15 minutes to write a song, and then we'd just work on it and record it, and it was that simple. I mean, a lot of people were pissed at us because they felt like we didn't take a lot of time, but we've been playing for so long, we just don't take time no more. It's there, it's done, and you record it, why work on it anymore? So that's how we've been doing it. The last record that we did, Black Like Sunday, I wrote all these songs in 1980. Almost all the songs on the album but 2. And we were getting ready to work on a new record, and we just said, let's pull out all these old songs that our friends and fans way back then really loved. So we handpicked a handful of songs and recorded them. We dropped B tunes, we tuned our guitars all the way down to B. and just put the songs on a record, and it was a lot of fun. That's how we do it. Yeah.
What do you do to keep your sanity when you're like in a phase of being uninspired?
Panic. I tell you, a couple years ago, I got to a point where I felt like I had nothing to say, nothing to give. I was just done. I was not worried about it. I had nothing to sing about. I was, tired of spewing out my inner feelings. I was feeling like people were sick of hearing me talk about how much I hated myself and how much I hate everything. And, so I just thought, what have I got to say? I got to find some new inspiration. So it took about 2 years, actually. And in between that, we actually put records out. I don't know how we did it. My second solo record was a panic for me. I mean, I fought for lyrics on that record. And I look back now and go, wow, you really dug for that one. But then all of a sudden, inspiration came back for some reason. And, I got riffs coming out of my head now, all the time. But, yeah, that's what happens for me. I don't know about the other guys. Yes. Hey! How you doing?
How do you determine who's going to sing lead on a song?
Okay, in the beginning I sang everything. Ty hates to sing, so he didn't want to sing anything. And Sam kind of forced him into singing a few songs. Like, say for instance, Goldilocks. Ty wrote Goldilocks. And he wanted me to sing it. And I was singing it, and he didn't like the way I was singing it. It was like, he said it was like Tina Turner, so I had to back up. You have to compromise and do it the way he wants to. But after that, I got so pissed about it because, a little bit later when we were doing It's Love, I was supposed to sing lead on that. And again, Ty wanted me to sing it a certain way, and I got pissed and said, you sing it. And it was our biggest hit. So that made me feel good. But anyway, so now I just said, Ty, if you write a song, you sing it. If I write a song, I sing it. It's bottom line. And we write together now, so we just throw everything in now, the pile. On the Dogman album, Ty wouldn't sing lead on that record at all, so I sung the whole record. And that's the only reason why we did that. But now nowadays we get together and we write songs together, and then we're playing a song, and Ty will go, what kind of melody you got in your head, of course, and I'll sing it to him, and he'll sing his, and we'll put them together. And I'll sing my part, and he'll make harmonies out of his melody, and usually the melodies are pretty close. So that's how we get that thing going around.
Now, on Air Candy, he sings a lot, right?
Yeah, he did.
That was after Dogman, right?
Yeah, that's why I said you're going to sing everything you write after that, And that's why I love Manic Moonlight. Mississippi Moon. It's one of my favorite songs, and I like him singing. I was hoping it would be a hit song, but, as usual, doesn't happen. That's how we do that. Anything else? Yeah, come on with it.
Supershine, you got another record coming out with those guys?
I talked to Bruce Franklin a couple days ago. We've been talking about a new album, but we haven't had time to get it together. I'm kind of afraid because it's like I'm running out of things to say. I want somebody else to make some lyrics up and sing. I'm tired of singing. I just want to play bass sometimes. Huh? Jerry writes lyrics, but we never used him. Jerry's got so much talent, but Ty and I were so dominant, we just pushed him in the corner, seriously. He never got a chance to put anything in the pile until way later. And I think as a result of it, his new solo album will be out in about 2 weeks. I heard it, he brought it over for me to play. Him and Ty did it together. Ty produced it, Ty played bass and a little guitar. Jerry played everything else and all the vocals. He brought it over to my house and played a couple songs, and I turned my studio off for a whole month. I thought, oh God, it's over. They're gonna say, what have we been doing with him? It's a great record. It's like, somebody said to me when I played it for him, they said, John Lennon and George Harrison would be proud. It's a really good record. So Jerry's come into his own thing. Now Jerry writes more lyrics than anybody I know. He writes poetry. He's really into Bob Dylan. So he's got some really bizarre stuff. One other thing too is Out of the Silent Planet, the song Out of the Silent Planet. Jerry wrote most of the lyrics to that. And Mission, he wrote half of them. We collaborated on that.
Did he write the lyrics for Six Broken Soldiers?
Oh yeah. Six Broken Soldiers and American Cheese. Yeah. Yes.
How much rehearsing goes on before it's work?
Ooh, man, I shouldn't be up here telling these stories. Well, we're pretty lazy nowadays, and we've been together for so long. It's like we just get up and play. You know, it's not a we don't practice. We don't hardly do anything. One time we went to Europe on a tour and didn't even rehearse. we just winged it on stage for 2 nights and got it together. But and Ty will say we're the first to admit that we're pretty lazy. So this tour, the truth of the matter is we haven't rehearsed yet, and we've got 4 days to rehearse. And that's in the middle of a weekend, and we won't rehearse on a weekend. We take our weekends off regardless. So we got 2 days rehearsed. We're going to do an acoustic set in the middle of the set, and then, you know, electric in the beginning, acoustic, and then electric again. And we haven't started rehearsing. And knowing us, we'll get together. Oh, here's one thing. We even recorded one of our rehearsals, and we're going to put it on a CD and give it to people so they can hear. It's so funny. We'll start a song, get like maybe 4 measures into it, and it just fall apart, and we'll go, okay, that's good enough, next, you know, or I hate that song, you know. And finally, you know, we started jamming on the song for about 10 minutes and recorded it. It was a really cool song. It was a lot of fun. So that's really how we do it. The reason I say that is in the early days, we practiced all the time. We worked real hard. But we've been together 23 years, so what we do now is it's just simple and easy, you know. I mean, I hope it doesn't sound like I got an ego or something, but it's just easy to work with those guys now. Yes?
Do you ever experiment with any on-stage tunes on the 12?
No. Tuning this thing is so hard. I mean, there's just so many strings, so I've never really tried it, but I might since you suggested that. Cool. Yeah.
Whatever happened with the project you were doing with Jeff?
Jeff Ament from Pearl Jam. We got 8 songs done, and it's been almost 2.5 years, maybe 3 now. We haven't been able to get our schedules together to go do it. When I'm home, he's off at Pearl Jam, and vice versa. You know, we're hoping in June, January, February, March, I think July. He mentioned maybe we could get together, so hopefully I'll go up to Montana and we'll finish the record up. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, with all your collective solo works that are out there and the unrealistic aspect of each of you touring for those projects, have you ever considered throwing any of the solo material in with the King's X show?
I think we will now because all 3 of us have solo records. We're pretty, we split everything down the middle between the 3 of us. So it's like we wouldn't do our own solo stuff if Jerry didn't have one. We just didn't want to, you know, do that kind of thing. We're like, we love each other so much we don't want to step on each other's toes. But maybe we'll do some solo stuff now since Jerry's got his thing going. Now Jerry wants to tour his solo stuff. He really does. Ty won't, but I keep telling him he needs to because I want to come see it. You know, I took a band out, and you know, a poundhound band out, and it was a disaster. The guys, all they did was fight, and they cock blocked each other, and they all would come up to me like, I'm your best friend, and those guys, you know, they're doing this and that, and so it was just a stupid thing, and I lost a whole lot of money, so I probably won't do that again. Yes?
Why didn't you get involved with the Jerry solo record? I was involved.
I didn't want to be. I just felt like this is Jerry's thing, and I didn't want to put anything of me in there. Because the thing about what I do with King's X is I love soul music, and I'm just a funky bass player. I've just always been into a groove all my life, since I was a little kid. I'm just attracted to groove. So when we write a song together, you know, I'm going to play a funky part. And with Jerry, since, you know, he didn't have a bass player, I would have just, you know, turned it into, it would have sounded like King's X with Jerry. So, and it doesn't sound like King's X at all. It sounds totally like Jerry. They got together and they're both Beatle freaks, 100% Beatle freaks. So the record has really got that Beatle vibe, which I don't really have, that I don't think I have. And I just didn't want to be a part of it because I wanted to sit back and listen to it instead. And it really blew my mind. And the other thing too is after I listened to it, I thought those 2 guys made a great record. Maybe that's why we haven't been so successful. Because you know, I internalize everything, but it's just stupid because they looked at me and said, "Well, that's what we feel about your solo records," and you know, so we love each other and we encourage each other, and it's a beautiful thing, I think. Hope I answered your question. Good. Anybody else? Yes.
You say you're really trying to emulate the live sound on record. Why don't you ever make a live album?
Well, we're real picky about our live performances, and every time we play our live tapes back, we just think it sucks. So we just won't put it out. You'd be surprised. I mean, people have bootlegs. There's hundreds of bootlegs out there, and people love them. But we listen to them and go, there's no way we could put it out and make people buy it. But the last 4 tours, we took 24-track recordings out, a recorder out, and we recorded a whole bunch of shows. So actually, for the last few weeks, we've been going through tapes, and we've been working on a live album. And actually, Ty's mixing it right now while I'm here, so I'm gonna go home and hear it. We spent like 3 days just sitting in a room going through song after song. And it was really funny. I mean, we were playing Houston, Texas, and we were just rocking. It was kicking, you know. About 5 songs into it, we're getting a little sloppier and sloppier. And all of a sudden, the vibe is gone. Now, most folks don't notice it, but we did. And Ty goes, "What happened?" And Jerry said, "Oh, that was the night we were really drinking a lot." You know, and it's like, it really taught us something, because, you know, we can, the more we drink on stage, the more we see it going down. And at the end of the night, you know, like I said, nobody really knows, but we do. So I'm going to stop drinking when I play now. Yeah, I think so. I think so, and yeah.
That live version you have
Huh?
of, that song Music, Over My Head, the live version?
Yeah.
That came out incredible. That was great.
That was at Woodstock.
Yeah. That was,
Yeah, it came out good. I was happy with that. Bob Clearmountain mixed that, and it was. I'm real proud of that, you know, because Woodstock was terror to play. You know, so many people. I've never played for 300,000 people, and that was a nervous wreck. And I hate. Actually, the funny thing, I'm real temperamental, okay, and you know, so during that program, I kept feeling more and more like I wasn't very good. And at the end of the performance at Woodstock, I stormed off the stage, went to the dressing room, and walked in circles, just going, I quit, I give up, I can't do this, I suck. And then we went into a booth that had a radio station on, and it was like time-lapse thing, and they were playing a King's X song live from Woodstock, and I sat there going, whoa, it was rocking my brains out. So it's like, I just don't know anymore. I hate everything I do, but I just go, hey, if you like it, then I'm happy, because I love doing what I do. And that's the bottom line. I don't really think about the outcome. I just love to do it, because I've been doing it all my life. Music is everything to me. It's been my friend, it's been my lover, it's, you know, it's just everything. My wife, my family, you know, yeah. Somebody else raised their hand a while ago. Yeah.
How about vocalists? Who inspired you when you were growing up?
Cool.
Singers.
Are you ready for this long list?
Oh, I know it's gonna be a lot.
Whew. First time I heard Mahalia Jackson, I was about 6 years old. She was singing this song, I'm gonna move on up a little higher. I'm gonna meet my loving Father. And she was the first black gospel singer to make a record, a real record. And so my relatives played it a lot, and it really moved me. And so she's the first person. And then there's Mavis Staples, who used to be in the Staple Singers. She was like 18 when she was in this group, and she just had this powerful, raspy voice. And it just gave me this, it just gave me this feeling. And I didn't know what this feeling was because I was so little. But I loved how she sang. And then after that, there was all kinds of, but actually going to school, you know, listening to show tunes, being in the choir, being in band, I got, you know, into the other kind of things, show music, and, you know, my favorite musical was Sound of Music, South Pacific. You know, chick was singing, I'm gonna wash that man right out of my head, send him on his way. And it's like, I love that kind of show tune stuff. So that kind of was starting to mold me into what I do. Then after that, there was Motown came along, Temptation Supremes. Then you go to Stax Volt in the 60s, and it was Sam and Dave and Wilson Pickett and all those guys. And then I lived with my great-grandmother until I was 14. I moved in with my mom, who was going to a church that had amazing choir. There was about 100 people in the choir, and it was ear-deafening. And I'm talking, it was rock and blues. It was like doom, 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 and people clapping and swinging. And you know, it was like a rock show. And they had some incredible singers. And that was a time when it was like Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, Marvin Gaye, all those people were in the prime. So we had many people in that church that emulated these people. So every Sunday I heard these people just get up and wail. I mean, these people would sing so intensely that there are times when people would just have to get up and run out of the church screaming. I mean, it was really intense, just the emotion that I got from this church. So that started me, you know, wanting to be like that and emulate it. And Stevie Wonder is one of my favorite singers anyway, and so I wanted to be Stevie Wonder. I tried, you know. So, you know, then one day, I was about 14. I had this little transistor ready with one little speaker that you stick in your ear way back a long time ago. And I'm laying on my bed, and I heard this song called "Want to Take You Higher" by Sly and the Family Stone. It was over. It was all over. Because Sly put together all that stuff that I loved. And so I would say Sly and the Family Stone is my favorite band. Then after that, there was all kinds of singers, Glenn Hughes and Paul Rogers. I love Paul Rogers because he sounded like everybody that I liked. And so I would put free records on and just sing along with him. There was Buddy Miles. I loved the way he sang, and I actually got to do a tribute album with him, and we sung Have You Ever Been to Electric Ladyland together. And he sat in front of me, and I stood here, and we sang. And this is my hero. It was the weirdest thing, singing with him. And he asked me to do a harmony, and he sung it, and I matched him perfectly. And he said, "Dude, you're bad." And I go, "No, dude. I listened to you, and I tried to copy you." So I just did what he did, and it was a lot of fun. So Buddy was a great guy. To tell you a little story about that, too, being in the studio with Buddy Miles, Eddie Kramer, who produced Hendrix, and the manager, just the four of us was in the studio, and those three guys talked like Jimmy was in the room. And they told stories. "Hey, remember when he did this and said this?" And I felt like I got to know him. And Jimi Hendrix is one of my all-time heroes anyway. He gave me permission to be black and play rock music. Yes?
I was wondering how, as of late, your spirituality has been involved in your music. So the earlier stuff that you have, it seemed to have, you know, more of a gospel swing, and then I'm wondering where you're at now with it.
Well, growing up, you know, my dad's mother was a Pentecostal minister of holiness. You know, they had to wear makeup. You couldn't do anything. My great-grandmother was strict Baptist. She wouldn't let me dance. We didn't have a TV. We didn't have a phone. She didn't believe in anything. So I just basically sat in my room and go to relatives and listen to music. But she didn't like anything. So, and all my life I've been sitting in the church, you know, from the time I was, you know, a little baby, listening to the preacher yell at me. So I had no choice but to believe, and it was you know, my faith was real to me, you know. But as I got older, started seeing the world, started studying, started reading about other religions, seeing the hypocrisy in the church, seeing how religion had nothing to do with God, pretty much. And the last thing that happened was I used to go walking about 4 or 5 years ago. I go walking all the time, and I write music in my head, and I would go to the woods and just, you know, pray and just yell out to God and scream and just, you know, because nobody's around, I could be myself. You know, one day I just, you know, when you grow up Christian, there's all these rules and regulations, and they teach you what you're not and what you're supposed to be, but you can't be. You know, and it got to be just a paradox for me, and I take everything 100%, you know. Whatever you tell me, I believe it, and I'll embrace it. So there's a scripture in the Bible that says God makes vessels for destruction and vessels for honor. And I got some things in my life that are totally, you know, who I am, that doesn't go along with Christianity. So I felt I was a vessel for destruction. And I thought that, oh, I'm going to go to hell, and God made me to do that. And I had a panic attack, and that was the beginning of getting away from it. Now, you know, I got to a point where I just stopped believing in anything. It just doesn't make sense, and I lashed out at the church, you know, and just said all kinds of things. And it was like going back to your parents, knowing that they don't approve of you, but, you know, flaunting yourself in front of them, go, "Why don't you accept me?" when you know they're not. So, you know, one thing led to another. So now where I'm at basically is, you know, I don't know if there's a God or if there isn't any. You know, every now and then I look up in the sky and go, thanks, because my life is great. Other than that, I don't worry about it. And I pretty much don't believe in much, especially religion. You couldn't get me to church now to save my life, you know, because regardless of what truth could be there, I've got so much baggage that I won't even hear it. because religion, I got so full of religion I lost God. You know, so I just look around now and go, well, I don't know anymore, but I'm not worried. And I always tell people that if God is a God of Christianity, then I know that I'll be okay, because the Bible says that God judges from the bone to the marrow, and no one can separate those two. So I figure God knows exactly what I feel like, why I've got to this place, and it's His fault, and I'm not worried about it. I'll get up to heaven and go, you did it, you know. And I'm not worried about it, but yeah, I don't have any religion in my life anymore, and like I said, so my lyrics changed. I always write about what I feel, what I'm going through, what I've learned, what I haven't learned, my shortcomings, my just everything. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and so you always know where I'm at by my lyrics. You know. Did that answer your question? Good. Yes.
How much does bass influence the way that you write? Or do you...
I write everything on guitar. All the riffs on guitar first, and then I make up the bass part. I usually start out with the drums. I get a drum machine, and I sit there and think, how do you feel today, Doug? You feeling depressed, you're happy, you're excited, whatever. And I just make up a drum beat the way I feel, and then I just write a song around it. I remember the Dogman album, I went through this manic depressed period, and I remember writing Sunshine Rain and crying and putting the bass part down. Just weeping like crazy, and I can't even play the song and listen to it now, because everything I do is driven from emotion, and that's it. That's probably why I don't care to listen to a lot of my music that I make, because there's so much emotion there, and I'm embarrassed after I spew it out, you know. So it's like looking at a yearbook going, oh God, I did that. That's how that goes. Thanks for that question. Yes?
Is it, what you were just saying, you write the music first,
Mm-hmm.
through emotion, and then do you write lyrics after that? Or
Yeah,
do you have
lyrics
a pile
always,
of lyrics?
no, lyrics come last. No, I, every time I have any, well, I usually write out of depression more than anything, lyrics. And I'll get in my office or in my bedroom or something, pull out a pad and pen and just write lyrics all day. But when I try to put them to music, they just seem stupid. So I just write the music and then put the words on it. Whoa. Yes?
So you talked a lot about some songs that you're not comfortable doing. Are there a song or two that you love to play when you're out touring?
Let me see. No. Not really. I mean, when we get out and play them, we have fun. But I don't know if there's something like, oh, I can't wait to do that song. It's never like that. We just have a lot of fun doing our songs because, there are songs we like that. Wow. Yeah. Yes.
What have you heard lately that really influences you now? Who's like up and coming now that like, really blows you away?
Nothing. And I wish there was. But I'm looking for the next generation. I think they got something to say. Every time I go to music stores or just see kids 15, 16, 17 years old who don't even know who Alice in Chains are. These kids are listening to 70s music and stuff. There was a kid in here with a left-hand guitar playing upside down backwards. He looked like he was about 14. He was sitting right over there. He was playing Rolling Stone songs. And I was just going, dude, this is so cool. Daddy's music, yesterday I went into the acoustic room, and there was a guy in there playing a dobro. Beautiful blues slide. He looked like he's about 17. So there's something happening. And one day we're going to see it. It's going to change everything again, like Nirvana did, like the Beatles did, like Metallica did. And I'm looking for those things, But right now there's nothing. I mean, the 90s was a big inspiring time for me because that's the kind of music that I like. And but for me now, I just I try to be inspiration to myself now. I try to come up with something original for me, And that's the way it is. And I hope something comes up. It's got to. It always does. But there's a lull right now, and we all know that, Yes.
You sang so much higher earlier. Was that Sam?
No. I wanted to be Mark Farner. And Robert Plant, everybody in the 70s sang so high. And so I tried to sing like that, but I never could sing that high. So whenever I'd write a song, it was like at the top of my register. I mean, all the time. And something happened, we were doing the Dogman record, and Soundgarden was doing Super Unknown, and Chris Cornell and I had been talking on the phone back and forth to each other, and we we were laughing at each other about how high we would sing and we would have nowhere to go. You know, just we're up in the stratosphere, the first song, like Patti LaBelle. And so, we made a pact and said, let's just sing in our natural voice. And later on, someone told me that a music instructor told them that you should sing in the register of your voice. And since I've been doing that, I started doing that a couple of years, well, maybe 4 years ago. I've been trying to sing lower. I don't lose my voice as much. You know, it's just a little easier to sing, and I enjoy it more. It's real hard for me to sing the old songs now. I mean, we play them, you know, 2 steps down now. The only way I can sing. My voice, my register just gone down from abuse for so many years, because I would sing so loud and so hard that after a show my head would just throb, just hurt, and just so much pressure going through. And when you sing like that for a long time, it takes its toll. And so I backed up and tried to get my voice back, and so I just try to sing croon, you know.
You guys lower your tunings like on Dog Band for sound?
Nope. Oh yeah, for sound, not for vocals. See, we, as far as I know, we were the first band to drop B tune in '88, and I remember going on the road, putting that groove, drop B tune thing in there. They say that the easiest way to get a bunch of people to imitate you is to do something that anybody can do. Drop D tuning is just flat fingered. It's just like, it's so easy to do. So we drop D tuned. I remember we went on the road for maybe a year, came home, turned on Headbangers Ball, and every band was drop D tuned except Bon Jovi. And it was just weird. And at that point I realized, wow. And so after that, I kind of got pissed because I had nowhere to go. So we went down a little further. I went down to C, you know, just writing songs in C. And then Dimebag came over our house one day, and we were hanging out, and I played him some drop C songs, and he goes home and drops C's, you know. And so that was good. I mean, you know, that's what musicians do. We find something we like, we're gonna copy each other, you know. So they dropped beat, and then Korn came along with 5, 6, 8, 7 strings, and went down to G. You know, I mean, so that's not even a note; it's just percussion. So, you know, at that point, it's like cool, but we've been talking about our next record, maybe, you know, turning back up to 440 and do like mountain kind of riffs. You know, I mean, I don't even know how to act. When we get up here to jam with the guys, I have to tune up at 440, and when I'm playing, it's so foreign to me. I don't even know if I'm doing the right thing because it's so high now. You know, our Black Like Sunday album, even though it wrote all the songs in the 80s in 440 and not drop D tuned, we took our guitars and tuned to B. 5 steps down. And Yamaha makes us drop B guitars. They're about that much longer than regular guitars. And so we got those guitars, and we just put the whole record out in drop B. Actually, we took our guitars and drop beat them, and then we drop beat them, then took the E string and dropped it down to A for Mr. Bulbous. That's so low, you just like, it's almost mud. But we had a lot of fun doing it. Well, I've always loved tunings. I made up this one tuning that you just flat your finger, and oh no, it's almost like it's just a weird little easy chord, and you go up and down the neck on it. And half of my first poundhound record was written like that. I love tunings. Chris Cornell really loved tunings too, so we used to always like go back and forth about those kind of weird things. Cool. Hey, it's time for me to go, eh? Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.